We will we'll start. Without any further delay, I'd like to introduce today's speaker, someone I've heard in meetings before and who I really appreciate. I really appreciate his shares. I'm happy to introduce to you Gary O.
Well, can you hear me? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, well, you said you're recording me, and okay. Whatever comes out of my mouth comes out of my mouth, and that's the way it is. As some of you don't know, well, or most of you will know, that this is an Irish accent you're listening to. So if I say feck, I don't mean the other word that starts with an F and ends with a K, okay? A feck is a soft other word, but it comes out of my mouth very easily. So I hope you're not offended. And if you are, I will talk to your sponsor about it. Anyway, okay, so why am I here? Right, okay. I wrote down a few notes just to try and keep myself maybe on course. Okay, the main thing for you beginners out there is the last time I had a drink was the 23rd of the 9th, 1992. Now, because you guys in America mangle the calendar, that's the 23rd of September, 1992. Okay, so in about four weeks, give or take, I'll be 30 years without a drink. Okay. Now, the only thing of substance that you're going to learn off me today is if your arse falls off, you don't drink. Okay, that's the only bit of wisdom I'm going to give you. I'm not a 12-step man. I'm not a promises man. I'm not a happy, joyous, and free man. If your arse falls off, you don't drink. Okay, no matter what happens to you, who dies, who lets you down, who blows you out, who sacks you, who fires you, you don't lift that drink. And to all you new beginners, what should be told to you at the beginning when you come into AA is you're going to feel an awful lot of pain. I listen to people doing chairs and they drop buzzwords like gratitude, fellowship, happy, joyous, and free, 12 steps. And they drop all these words. And if I dropped enough of them in here, all you guys would think I'm fantastic because I'm just repeating what you want to hear. I don't do that, okay? I tell you exactly how I feel on any given day. And quite often, I do not sound like somebody who's supposed to sound with nearly 30 years non-drinking behind them. I can come across as grumpy and narky because I'm being real. And I prefer to talk like this because there was guys in Dublin when I came in, spoke like this, and they made it real, okay? Because if you're hanging around at the beginning or after a while and you're going through a bad patch and you're feeling shite, okay, it's quite normal. And not an awful lot of, not enough people talk about that, okay? Okay, right. Now, as I say, I don't talk like I'm Mr. AA, right? Why did I come into the AA? Okay, well, the bottom line was I wanted to learn a few tricks and how I could meet girls without drinking. Pure and simple. I was 28. I was single. I was heterosexual. And I wanted to stop drinking. I came into AA. I went to the AA because they were the experts on not drinking. And they were going to tell me all the hints on how I could go to discos and meet girls my own age, chat them up and dance them and score with them without drinking. Well, that's what I thought. Okay, I learned a few tricks. But I wrote this down here. The next drink will kill me, all right? I walked into my first meeting, as I say, I'm looking just for a few tricks on how to talk to girls, ask them to dance. And suddenly I'm at meetings and all I'm hearing is, my next drink will kill me. And I'm going, really? Okay. So what I'm trying to say is there's a vast difference of people in these meetings, okay? There's some people who are down one end of the spectrum, and there's some people who are up the other end of the spectrum. I was up the top end of the spectrum, which was I hadn't got to daily drinking. Okay, I wasn't in the gutter, and I hadn't been in a recovery program. I was just a guy walking in off the street who wanted to stop drinking. And okay, when I was hearing the next drink will kill you, and this was being rammed down my neck, I could have left the rooms. Okay. Remember, I wanted to learn how to dance with girls through alcohol. I didn't want to hear my next drink will kill me. I'm just telling you the way it was. I'm 58. I'm 6'2" in the real world, and my background is basically a lot of negative programming as a kid. I was attacked as a kid for where I lived, because I lived in American language close to what you would call the projects, but I didn't live in the projects, but they were right across the road from where I lived. I lived in a private house, but I got attacked by a lot of the kids who lived in the projects. And when I went outside that area, people would say, well, where do you come from? And I'd say where I came from. And they all assumed I lived in the projects, and then they rejected me. So I've spent quite a lot of my life trying to find where I fitted in, because I didn't fit in where I lived, and I didn't fit into areas with an equivalent socioeconomic background as me living across the road from the projects. Okay. I still have that nagging feeling I don't fit, and where do I belong? All right. After about 3 years in AA, I was going a bit bananas, and a woman walked up to me, and she says, Gary, you need outside help. You need to talk to somebody else. So she gave me a telephone number, and I went down the counseling route, and I had to pay for it. And I know counseling in America is very, very expensive. And I ended up doing inner child work, and I found huge resistance within the AA to me going to counseling, because they were repeating what somebody else was repeating, which was you only need the 12 steps in the AA program. In my opinion, that's bullshit. Okay. I needed to see a counselor. I have a book here called Your Erroneous Zones. I said this at another meeting, or Your Erroneous Zones, by Dr. Wayne W. Dwyer, author of Pulling Your Own Strings. Now, I was reading that book when I was 16 and 17. That's before I started to drink. Now, it's not normal for a 16 to 17-year-old guy in Dublin to be reading books like that. I was reading those books because I was trying to fix something inside of myself, and I couldn't put my finger on it, what it was. Okay. So I come from the school of my thinking was suspect before I drank. And I drank like a medication to deal with my thinking. And I'm very, very happy with that. You guys may not be, but that's what my thinking was the problem first. My drinking was a temporary solution. And then the drinking then attacked me. So then I ended up in the AA. Okay. Right. I'm going to do something now very, very fast. I'm going to go through the who, me. My last drink was on the 23rd of the 9th, 1992. And I'm going to go through this questionnaire as if this was my last day of drinking, okay, which is nearly 30 years ago. And it's the who, me, are you an alcoholic? Question 1, is drinking making your home life unhappy? Yes. Question 2, does your drinking make you careless of your family's welfare? Yes. 3, do you drink because you are shy with other people? You better believe it. Yes. Is drinking affecting your reputation? Yes. Do you drink to escape from worries or trouble? Yes. Do you drink alone? Yes. Have you lost time from work due to drinking? Yes. Has your ambition decreased since drinking? Yes. Has your efficiency decreased since drinking? Yes. Is drinking jeopardizing your job or business? Yes. Have you ever felt remorse after drinking? Yes. Are you in financial difficulties as a result of drinking? No. Do you turn to or seek an inferior environment when drinking? Yes. Do you crave a drink at a definite time daily? No. Does drinking cause you to have difficulty in sleeping? No. Do you want a drink in the next morning? No. Do you drink to build up your self-confidence? You better believe it. Yes. Have you ever had a complete loss of memory as a result of drinking? Yes. Has the doctor ever treated you for drinking? No. Have you ever been in hospital or prison because of drinking? No. So that's 14 out of 20, okay? So according to this, if you have answered yes to 3 or more, you're definitely an alcoholic, okay? So I'm in. I score 14 out of 20. Why did I do that? Because there was a guy in Dublin who said to me, Gary, you're going to kill people with the way you share. Because I said, well, I'm telling you my story. I'm not telling you your story. I said, I scored 14 out of 20. I came into the AA to stop drinking, and that's the only requirement for membership. This guy had been in about 10 or 12 bloody treatment centers, and he couldn't stop drinking. And I didn't talk like that. I didn't talk about the 12 steps, and I didn't like the God word. And as far as he was concerned, I was going to kill people because of the way I spoke. Okay. I left the AA for about 10 years and I didn't drink. Now, I'm not supposed to say that because there's a story put across in AA that if you stop going to meetings, you're going to go back drinking. Now, I didn't go back drinking. And the reason I didn't go back drinking, because somebody was taking care of my mental health, and that was that counselor. Okay. She was keeping what was going on between my two ears in an okay fashion. After being with this counselor, I came into the AA when I was 28. When I was 36, I was on stage musicals, West End shows in Dublin. Was just about to graduate from university with a Bachelor of Science in Information Technology. I was sailing yachts around the Greek islands, and I was chasing women my own age. I wasn't chasing older women, which I was excelling at beforehand. Remember, do you go to inferior places and people? So things were going good. They were going so good. I thought that if they ever wrote a new AA book, they could throw my story in there, because I came in, stopped drinking, and here I was in university. I was going part-time. As I say, I was on stage doing West End shows and sailing yachts through the Greek islands. Now, that was pretty good. A pretty good story for somebody who stopped drinking and tried to turn his life around. The problem was, on the second last night of that show, I was driving into the show and a truck drove through my car. I hit the roof of the car doing 40 miles an hour, hit my head off the roof of the car, and I was knocked into la la land. I went back to my counselor and she went bananas when she seen me, the psychological state I was in. I was told a week later, the day after I graduated from university, I was told I needed a liver transplant and I was dying. Okay, so within a week, I had graduated from university. I was knocked out of the musical I was in and I was told I was dying. Okay, now that shit's not supposed to happen. Where in the big book does that say? I had done all the right bloody things. I'd not had a drink in 8 years and now I'm dying. And I was told I needed a liver transplant and it wasn't drink related. Okay, that was the part that got me. It wasn't drink related. I got an autoimmune disease called primary sclerosing cholangitis. Okay, so my world fell apart. I was 36 and couldn't get a mortgage because I couldn't get life insurance. Any girl I started a conversation with that says I need a transplant, they were gone before I got to the word I need because their white picket fence was gone. I had to fight in work to get reallocated from being an electrician to an electrician assigned clerical duties. I had to get politicians involved. And I was out of work for a year and fighting, and the world didn't turn out the way I thought it was going to be. So I was very, very lucky I had that counselor at that time, because again, she kept me between the ditches. Drink wasn't part of it, of the issue for me. My thinking was the issue. So I continued along, then my counselor died and I was left on my own. Okay, my counselor died, then I was diagnosed with cancer, bile duct cancer. And I had to go through the whole shebang, radiation, chemo, staging operations. And I had to get over about 20 steps. And the doctors told me, you get caught in one of those steps, that's it, you're dying, you're gone. So this is where I have to thank America, because I got treatment from the Mayo Institute in America. They were talking about my case in America, and I was getting treatment in Dublin, Ireland. So, as I say, I went through the whole chemo thing and the radiation, and I was eventually transplanted. So after that, I was walking around Dublin, and people were saying to me, Jesus, Gary, you should be feeling great. You've had a liver transplant and you've had cancer. You must be feeling great. And I said, I'm not. And I said, that gnawing feeling is back, that there's something wrong. My cancer is dead. And I reluctantly, and I say reluctantly, returned to AA. And I walked into an AA room, and the first thing I said when I walked into the meeting was, I don't believe you're still doing this shit, these 12 steps. Have you not moved on? So I was very popular in the AA in Dublin. My counsellor was dead. I needed somebody, something to help me with what was going on between my two ears. Except now I'm a post-cancer patient. I'm now a post-transplant patient. The AA fixes me about 40% on a good day. Okay, that's why sometimes I growl an awful lot of these meetings, because I'm 80% full on a normal day with fear regards the cancer coming back, needing another transplant. I don't even think they're going to give me another transplant. And every 6 months, I've got to go and talk to doctors, and I'm blood tested. And I'm terrified walking into those doctors, because they've told me 2 times in my past that I was dying. Okay, so why am I telling you this story? The reason why I'm telling you the story is I didn't drink. Okay, I got shit thrown at me, squared, as they say in mathematics. Okay, I didn't drink. I didn't lift the drink. Okay, that's the only thing I've got to say here. As I say, I come to the meetings. I come to the meetings because some of you guys help me with the way I think and the way I feel. I still feel isolated and lonely, but I get on with life. When you give me a problem, my first reaction is to run, not to face it. When I say I'm fine, I normally mean I'm fucked up, I'm insecure, and I'm neurotic, and I'm emotionally unstable. Okay, that's what my fine means. Okay, but I haven't drank. Okay, so as I say, I come to the meetings. The AA only fixes me 40%. And I'm quite controversial at meetings, because sometimes, as I say, I challenge the way I'm supposed to get on here now, tell you how fantastic life is, and full of gratitude I am, and I do the steps, and I love all you guys, and life is fantastic. I'm happy, joyous, and free, and I don't have a care in the world, all because I've done the 12 steps. That's not what happened to me, right? I got a letter from the blood bank many, many years ago. I did the right thing. I was a blood donor. And that letter from the blood bank said, we don't want your blood anymore, and go and see a doctor. I got slapped in the face with life, and I continue to get slapped in the face with life. I got skin cancer after. I had the plastic surgery. So, okay, I've been talking for about 20 minutes now. So I'll repeat it again. The only message you're going to get off me is if your arse falls off, you don't drink, no matter what. Okay. As I say, on a good day, I'm 80% full of worries about my own health, which means I've only got 20% left in my head. And that fills up very, very, very fast. I'm 58. Half the time I feel like I can't deal with life, but I get on with life doing the best that I can. And that's all you can do. There's no perfection in this program. Yeah. Sometimes, as I say, I'll repeat this again, I hear people doing chairs, they sound as if they can levitate. Well, I'll give them a few weeks in my life and see they're going to crash land very, very fast. Okay. So I'm going to stay quiet on this. No matter what, if your father dies, mine did, I had to bury him. Yeah. No matter what happens to you, you don't lift that drink. Okay. Now, I've also got news for you. It's going to be painful. And not an awful lot of people talk about that. It's going to be very painful. You have to grow up. And I don't like growing up. Right. You know, when I was walking around in Australia, I lived over there for 5 years, and I was strutting down the beach in my Speedos and my hairy chest and my little gold medallion. You know, I used to project that I was Clint Eastwood with a dash of Charles Bronson. And people thought that's the way I felt. Inside, I felt like Bambi, stuck in the headlights. My insides have never matched my outsides. Okay, so I've been talking there for about 25 minutes. I'll say it again. No matter what happens to you, don't lift the drink and fight your way through life and be 90% wrong more than you are 100%. Okay. And that's all I got to say. As I say, next month, I won't have had a drink in 30 years. So I have been very successful in not drinking. And I'll leave it at that.